All right. So, let's see. My name is Andrew Murray, and my intention is that this video will help save the world. It's kind of like the second chapter of Pay It Forward. So just have some patience, find some time to watch this video. There's a very important message. I honestly believe this is going to make the change I want to see in the world. And I'm not the only one, which comes to the whole point of the video. Today we have an interview with an extraordinary man. I think his name is Richard, and he has a couple things to say. Very smart. It's like, in his older age, he figured, if he has no idea when death can come, so why he's here, he has this info that he spent 70 years trying to get. And now that he has it, it's just finding people who want and need that, and maybe even sometimes people wouldn't even realize it. So our intent is to try and save some lives with this video.
If that's not paying forward, Andrew, I don't know what is.
Well, it's like how I said it was like paying forward too. I think I'm gonna name it Pay It Forward and Beyond,
Right
because
on.
like basically all the things that you have to help all these extraordinary young people with, including myself. This knowledge it goes beyond like normal worldly things. It's not treasure of gold, except for the wisdom aspect of how my brain can use this, interpret it, and go through life with a different type of comfort than most that takes 70 years to achieve the kind of understanding. So in my eyes, it's like I just stumbled across like an ancient treasure, and it's like it's like the treasure that was going to save the world, but no one knew what it looked like. This is the true Atlantis. To me, Paying It Forward is his. If you've watched the movie, then you know that this kid said, I'm going to pay it forward. I'm going to do something for someone that they can't do for themselves. And I'm going to do it for 3 people, and I'm going to tell them the rules of this game. It's a tag your it type game. So when anyone does something for you, they get in the line in front of you and they're like, oh, don't worry, I'll cover it. Just pay it forward. When they say that, they mean it. And it's like something that this kid started, and there's a movie based on it. And I refuse to let if you watch the movie, then you'll know why I'm fighting for that kid. Because his message took away from the world. He lost his life. He was 8 years old, who invented this original plan of what I'm coming through, and I'm going to push it through to the finish line. Because I believe it is more of a way of life than it is a religion. It's like the only way I would explain it is this. I am showing this man my utmost respect. I just met him 2 weeks ago, but I had no idea I needed him like the way I did. I've always thought I was going to save the world, but I didn't really know how and why or when. And meeting him has been a great honor to me. His talks on death, I'm already missing him. I cry about it already. And I refuse to let this interview go to waste. So listen up to me. Watch me show you how to do it. But listen to this, man. He lives in the city, so we came out here to the mountains. I wanted him to have clarity and he has no car, so it's not like he can come out here all on his own or be in an RV, nonetheless, where you are. How do you feel right now?
Well, I feel like if you hadn't driven me here, it'd take me a long time to walk here. I know that.
Well, yeah, and it's also, how do you feel, being in an RV in nature?
It feels good. It feels very good. Like I said, I never in a million years dreamed that I would ever even get an opportunity or a chance to carry on about what I'm thinking right now and what I'm feeling. But the truth of the matter is, it's not just the 70 years worth of looking for different ways. I was looking for the way. I was looking for the answer, the ultimate answers. Why are we here? What are we reasonably expected to do here? What are we reasonably expected to accomplish? And all I can think about is throughout the history of mankind has always made bits and pieces of improvements of things based on his need.
Yeah, right.
there's always been the need for people to understand better the why for, the wherefore, the who for, you know.
And I would be even, to add to that, I'd say the lost man does the same thing for his wants.
There you have it. Yeah, and it's done out. It's done out of almost a dire sense of need. But the truth of the matter is, it's part of the human condition, and
So
the questions and the answers and the mysteries are not all that mysterious. They're not. They're questions that need to be asked,
yes.
and there's answers to them.
Nice.
And just because it involves God or the characters who populate heaven, it doesn't mean that it's impossible for a human being to grasp it or understand it. It means nobody's ever been successful in inquiring about it and actually getting the answer back that they needed.
Exactly. So, like, to kind of clarify, I hear, to not be closed-minded, to accept, open my mind and start filtering. To, like how you're saying, don't be worried because just because the word religion's in there or spirituality, I don't want anyone to stray away from this, because that's not what we're here to focus on. This is paying it forward our ancient knowledge of Richard Conway, a man, in my opinion, who grew up in a family of never give up. From my brief interviews before, I've just learned this about him, never giving up, and that's a trait that I similarly have. Both me and him have pondered why we have not taken our lives, and it's real funny. After we made our first video, it's kind of like the purpose became clear, why we did not do that, and that's my intent. This is back to square one, and Richard, I would love for you to state your intent too, but this is to save lives. This is to open up your mind. It doesn't matter who you are. Actually, I would prefer if you are the most lost person in the whole world.
Yeah, to save my soul, yeah.
If you're one-sided and you're looking at this as a Christian or as a Buddhist or one-sided, you're not really going to see the full delight in it, because this is more of life coaching. This is more of like how it's going to be like with me from here on out, from this moment out. I will not take anything from anyone. I will not diss them. I am only going to share my own personal beliefs and awareness, and then I'm also going to, honestly, I'm going to encourage them, even if they're, necessarily doing bad or evil. I'm going to be like, hey, you ever thought about turning this into a weapon against evil to fight good? And then they're like, oh shit, yeah, I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, until others start doing that for other people, I guess I'm the one who's trying to run around and do that. That's my way of paying it forward and beyond. And for me to Richard, this is how I feel. It's like, this is my way of paying it forward to you, sir. I don't care about the things that I've bought you. You are very selfless and wantless, so you've hardly even accepted the things I've been able to do for you, like water and go fishing and go on a ride and hang out. So I've honestly seen you, it's just the way you are, sir. Other elders I've talked to seem bitter, actually more fearful, and your opinions on death, they have really helped me already just shed those fears and fake hopes and doubts on what I thought this was going to become. So on that note, what is your intent on paying it forward and beyond?
Well, like I say, if the conundrum, the mystery that I've dealt with for 70 years can suddenly become clear to me, it means it can become clear to, say, Joshua or Andrew. And if that's the case, if even a brief instant of it could become clear to them, that would be worth the effort to pay forward. That would be worth the intention.
Right. Yeah, I think so too. And what I really kind of think this requires is me to listen with my ears as open as they are, because I will not interrupt you. I'm not going to let one single word. I'm going to rewatch this 4 or 5 times just so I get every angle of it and make sure that I really listen to you the way you properly deserve, because I have already started this process, and you are a man of great, great wisdom that is profoundly helping me beyond my years.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and to be honest with you, I don't feel that way, and I don't feel comfortable in proffering that particular statement. I think I'm just somebody who's been blessed many, many, many times over with the opportunities to do the kinds of things I'm doing. I know a lot of people my age and older who never gave 10 minutes thought to their the health of their soul, or the health of their fellow man and their souls, or you see what I mean?
Yes.
There have been people who just don't care, and the question is well, what about those people? Well, I don't know what about those people. I don't know if they're right. I don't know if they're wrong. I don't know if what they're doing is good. I don't know if what they're doing is bad. But it doesn't change what I know I need to do.
Yeah, and you're just being asked to be heard out, right? You just want listened to as young people, please find time.
I can only say it, and then beyond that, beyond the words that come out of my throat and into the world, and the ideas that those words suggest or illuminate, in no way, shape, or form makes those words or those things any more pertinent or desirable. It's just that they are parts of that mystery that I wished I'd known all my life.
Wow. Well, I have no regrets, sir. I'm pretty sure it's just like you don't know how very, very much important you were. I feel like personally, just me and you in our past couple of days and all this stuff, I feel like it's like my ancestors went through everything already. All these pains and all these traumas are just something I was being reminded I've already went through. So I honestly feel like it's that part in the relay race where I am about to take the baton and run across the finish line. And there was a lot of people before me who, died for this, who made sure my bloodline was still here for this, for all this type of respect. And, one thing me and Richard have in common is we were always told that we're the ones who don't confront evil. We are the ones who don't get in a big fist fight. There's never really a war. They say it's more like we never take care of the problem. But just like Richard said, there's an easy way and a hard way to do things. So the easy way is, us to stay on track in this interview, trying to save the world. And the hard way is going to be for the audience to just hang in here and listen to what we're about to get into. So it's
and if somebody's bothering us or whatever, the easy way used to seem that maybe just haul off and sucker punch the person in the throat or something like that. Maybe they go away, but that's not the easy way. The hard way is if they whack you up beside the head because they don't agree with what you say, or they're just being mean to you or whatever. Turn the other cheek.
Yeah.
Turn the other cheek.
Yeah, because at that point you know that it's really not you. It's more like that person really doesn't understand themselves enough to understand you, which is, kind of what's going on with the one-sided thinking of the world. So on that note, the question is we know your intent is to pay something forward huge and beyond. But it's not just 3 people. Richard has officially broke the rules. He decided he's going to pay it forward to the whole world. And me playing into this, my pay it forward is to make sure that comes true. At any cost. Like, this video is worth Egyptian cotton and gold mixed to me right now. I'm something I'm going to hold close and make sure nobody else gets until it's time to cash this in the proper way, in the proper places. So, why pay it forward and beyond? It's a worthwhile endeavor, I think. What about you?
Well, it's a worthwhile endeavor, and it's an endeavor that's been avoided. It's been poo-pooed. It's been in any way, shape, or form to ultimately defeat its existence, ignored or played down or made seem less important than what it actually is. It's so important that everybody waking up tomorrow could wake up a little differently and feel a little better about things, were they to know that, hey, there are answers here.
Yeah.
And are they the answer? I don't know.
So then, Tense, and to put people to ease a little, because you have real experience with this, hands-on experience. You can tell them confidently that this is, well, I can say that I found something here. I don't know what it is, world, but you're gonna watch me go through this. I think that I can help people now. This was what it took, though, so listen to him the way I had to, with utmost respect. Because what I'm hearing is his intent, why he's paying it forward and beyond, why it's a worthwhile endeavor to him. I think it's because this is way bigger than you and I even realize yet. This is going to end up being huge. This is like the pay it forward and beyond, the sequel, you know? What happened ultimately when the full circle of pay it forward returned to that mother's porch where all the candles were lit. I would love to go find that mom. She exists. She's in the real world. And I don't want anyone to forget Pay It Forward, or that little kid who got stabbed in that movie. And I don't want anyone to forget my elder, Richard, and what he had to try to help you with here today.
Well, I appreciate that more than I can say. And as I say, I can't help but think, I haven't seen the movie, but I'm hearing now that an 8-year-old child lost their life. And my question is, did he lose his life trying to pay it forward?
Actually, sir, it was kind of like that. So, in the movie, you know, Carly, get down. Carly, go. In the movie, we have this young man who comes up. So his social studies teacher says, how are you going to make an impact in the world? How are you going to be a change? Like, what does the world mean to you? And all that stuff. And this kid was like, you know, coming home from school, and he saw the homeless people and the drugs, and he saw the alcoholism in his own mom. And, he saw his teacher who has a burnt face and is very misunderstood by society, you know, because people are so shallow, burnt face means Freddy Krueger, not someone who knows what pain means.
Right.
You know? So this young kid, 8 years old, knew that this was what was going to have to change. So he literally started paying it forward to these three characters in the best way he knew how. And it did inspire those other ones to pay it forward as well. And the system was, he had to pay it forward to three people. And those pay it forwarders had to pay it forward again to three people. Because if you don't do this, if you don't follow the rules and go three, then you mess up how his growth plan was going to work. And it was going to be like this. You help three people. Those three people ultimately help 9 people. Those 9 people go on to help 27, so on and so forth. It's a growth philosophy of, for no reason to go forth and be kind. It's like, in the movie, there's this even a guy who's kind of evil, gets tagged with the pay it forward. This lady helps him get out of trouble, So then he starts paying it forward, and he was like, he was bad, and he hadn't done anything good forever. So when he finally paid it forward, this guy, he woke up, and no one really sees that unless you're woke and you watch the movie. But this is kind of what I'm saying is like, this is much bigger than you and I, as in me and you, Richard, and as a you and I viewer. This is about the world, getting one vibe out there that can spread worse than the coronavirus. Isn't that what you said?
I believe so.
Yeah, you said it got to spread faster than the coronavirus.
Yes.
That
we could actually formulate it in such a way where it did just that.
Yep.
But where we could organize the people who were both telling the mysteries, the answers to the mysteries, and those who were hearing in such a way where it
confirms,
optimized the ability to transmit and successfully send the information where it needs to go and where it's needed most and where it's appreciated most.
Right, which I kind of feel like, what I learned, I'm 27, and I think I've somehow managed to get myself a closer understanding of who God really is, the father figure he takes in my life, and how this really works. You know, I suggest you guys rewatch this video over and over again. Hopefully we get on the radio. Hopefully this goes like wildfire. If you're one of the lucky individuals that gets to watch this through and through, I would suggest watch it through and through. And then after that, do it again. Mm-hmm. You know, go through your washing machine cycles and take out the challenge it. You know, you might not have heard what you heard the first time. What would you suggest on that note?
Well, I'd say don't leave any loose change in your pockets.
Right? So
no, but yeah, you're right. The truth is, it's a universal need to understand anything, anytime, anywhere, and the mysteries of this life, and of the beginning of this life and the end of this life, and all the things that go in between. Are sometimes daunting. They're sometimes overwhelming. And the truth of the matter is, every one of us has it within us, the knowledge, and
yep.
We have the answers. And that's one of the ways I believe we can pay it forward and become that change we want to see in the world.
Nice, yeah.
By virtue of availing ourselves to our fellow man and to the world as a whole, to understand that I'm just one of the people along on this ride, but guess what? My information jives with that person's. We match up here. Wow. It makes sense.
And see, and I'm honored because I'm a young yipper snapper compared to this man who's went through, you know, watched the previous videos in this. This is a reflection on an interview we've already done. The reason for this is, you know, upon reflecting on our own reflective interviews, we are seeing new information that we didn't know we could sit back and look. It's like the watcher watching the watcher watch the watcher. If anyone catches on to what that means, it's like going through levels of understanding and different perspectives of looking at this. So, you know, I hear the audience should be watching the respect that I'm giving you, the respect that you're giving me, because I feel I'm honored. Like, I'm honored. Old people are usually grumpy and like you look at me like I have no potential to please their needs of what's to come after them. So this is a very relieving thing for me to feel. It's like how you were saying, you know, I feel like it's more of like a spiritual passage for knowledge to get passed from an elder to a younger, and I have experience with this through hanging out with Indians and the Red Way, you know. This is a rite of passage. It's passing the torch. It's passing sacred knowledge and ancient wisdom, you know. And what I've really gotten, this is true, guys. Like, he has totally put me to ease on certain fears I had in life and certain questions, and stuff like that. So the purpose is there's so many things in this video that we're actually doing that you may be woke to or you may not. But the audience should be watching this. This is what I would say how we're paying it forward. We are actually trying to do something by making this video. We're talking about it, and these are real, honest opinions. That we are not perfect, man. I'm not perfect. I'm 27. I have a long ways to go. I do believe Richard was like an angel to me, sent to help me get a higher understanding so that way I can go do what I wish to do. My only purpose in life is to kind of put some sense to things and to save the planet Earth, you know, from us. You know, so anything?
Well, it occurs to me that as you were speaking, that it's so easy, and it has been so easy throughout the ages, to allow really pertinent and really strong information to remain in the dark. You know, to not say, because no one ever thinks to ask about it. It never occurs to them. And the truth of the matter is, all of it has a constituent part to play in the overall picture.
Right.
And the overall picture is one of harmony, duality, of a sense of well-being that can only exist through the satisfaction of knowledge.
And a contentment, you said it.
Exactly. You've got that sense of security, and that you know that this is most likely not a lie. Yeah. This is not fake news. This isn't something that's cleverly cobbled together and made to look like something that it isn't. No, this is what it is. No, it is what we say it is.
This was born of pure intent to save the world, like how people think that everything they watch is set up and scam. No, this is a real human reporting in with another real human in a different type of light. We're trying to shed light on something bigger than ourselves, which is really this represents our elder selves looking at our younger selves. And I keep hearing, I reconfirm something with you, and then you like said that you are seeing it from a whole nother perspective finally, like, and you don't want that to go to waste. You don't want your achievement of your new status of harmony to go to waste. You feel you worked really hard for it. I think from your stories, I feel like you went through pain and panic, just like Hercules, to try to teach us a way of being super strong like Hercules. And that whole thing about it spreading like coronavirus, God is my king, and he is the only one who will crown me in whatever he wants to crown me or bind my hands. I'll break out of any chains or any judgment getting thrown on my way, because I truly believe I've gotten really, really close to God and the Father image inside myself and in others. And I don't want to go any further. Right now I know that I'm young and I have a whole life to live, and that if my fellow young people don't get this, they're going to be missing out. So I'm going to make sure that this video stays alive, the message stays alive, the intent stays alive, the realness stays alive, and your contentment is what really keeps me at peace about this. You're not scaring me at all. You haven't scared me once. You haven't said anything like, you'll be thrown in hell, blah, 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 blah. You've gave me warnings from personal experience, like, hey, I was a little hard-headed and I really realized the easy way. Let me just tell you about it so that way you can challenge it, juggle it, try it yourself and see.
Or avoid it or do whatever you feel is necessary. But the truth of the matter is, there is no one perfect roadmap or treasure map or anything that leads you to the Holy Land or whatever. It's just the composite of facts that support the reality behind the answers to the questions.
Like we're turning where we came from.
That's right. We're re-emerging. I don't know. I don't know that enough about butterflies and pupa or pulpa or whatever they call them. And but I know that the butterfly has to go through that transformative cocoon before it can spread its wings as a butterfly. And how does without watching it, I would never know how. But after watching it, I get the sense that, oh, now I see, said the blind man as he picked up his hammer and saw.
See, in this, other young people, I know it out there, that's like one of those old sayings that I'm not going to let go to waste because they're badass. That is a whole metaphor behind the poetry, and that's amazing to me. I love music, so part of that is I would suggest that anyone who picks this up, digest what we say. See how it vibes with you. Pay really close attention because, we might be teaching you something here. In a lot of ways, now that I've opened up my heart, I really see how we are all alike. And this is literally me trying desperately hard to come up with some kind of way to save people who want and who to be saved and who need to be saved the most. I feel like there's a lot of expectations on me on like how a savior would come into the world and all that stuff, and I'm starting to see that that's one-sided views, and it's not going to be anything you guys thought it was. It's going to be first someone saves themselves, through trials, tribulations, and then gets reconfirmed that they did it, and then they save someone else, and then that they go forth and start saving others, and then that group saves an organization. That organization saves a a whole town, state, so on and so forth. Because honestly, this message is so big. I feel like, me personally, I don't know about you, Rich, but I want it to go everywhere in the world. I don't see any other kids my age respecting old timers, and this man is in pain. He's scared, just like us, every day that death can come. But he almost, what did you say about something like not even being scared of it no more? You're fighting it now, which is funny because I see you fighting it to make sure that this message doesn't ever go to waste. For me, I see you holding on for me, and that right there that's the love that'll put you to sleep. Hey, old timer, you sleeping? Right in the middle of an interview? Well, Richard.
You buddy?
Hey, you gotta hang in there.
I will.
I'm so glad we got that on the interview.
Hey, me too. Me too.
Did you just take a little nap?
Yeah, I think I need to.
Yeah.
I feel myself wandering.
Oh, well, hold on. Let us get the rest of this before you leave.
Okay, I will.
Okay. He said wandering. He's all white-haired, big beard looking like Odin. Got me all scared this man's going to disappear with the light body.
Oh, I won't.
All right, cool.
I'll
Yeah.
stick around.
Just let me finish this interview. We're almost done, boss.
Right on.
All right. So next question is, can you, how do you feel about balance, and, duality, good, evil, dark, white,
Well, I think we're all inherently made to feel uncoordinated or top-heavy or something with regards to all of these disciplines or all of these elements. And the truth of the matter is, there's not one of them that is better than the other or stronger or more reliable, but they are, in fact, all parts of pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
The same thing that nurtures all humanity, and that's understanding.
And they complement each other.
That's it. And
It's
they can only do something that will enhance the overall picture, not take away from it.
Yeah, I kind of, it helped me, kind of see fire, not as something that would burn, but, something that obviously,
Sacred.
Yeah, and obvious, a spiritual fire will come and help us all out with this. And I'm starting to wonder if we just stumbled upon it, because I keep seeing, a forest getting burnt down and people not understanding why it was burned down. But then I see that in a couple of years, this forest is growing back super strong compared to what it was. Way more beautiful, bearing much more fruit, with much more peace and happiness and safety for animals.
Mm-hmm.
You all right?
Yeah, I am. I've got to get something about. I got to rinse my throat.
Yes, sir. I might have to wet the whistle too. So on that note, I would like to mention one thing about what I think about coronavirus. I think there's something going on with our conscience where we're all connected, and there's an Anunnaki, Illuminati in the world that knows this. And I swear, on my heart of hearts, I feel like they're the ones who are sheep, the ones who kind of get told what to believe and how to feel and what to do and where to go. When you're told to have fear and to be scared of this coming, you are feeding into that. I know scary stories are scary, but it's just like as above, so below. So if people stop believing in angels and stop believing in God, then, how could God exist if no one even believes anymore? And what were you saying, earlier?
Oh, I believe with my heart of hearts, if God were to stop thinking of us or about us or caring about us for one instant, we'd cease to exist.
Wow. As above, so below. That makes sense to me.
We would blink out.
Yep. And vice versa, I feel. We all need each other.
That's it.
And honestly,
we're mutually dependent on one another.
Honestly, Richard, when I met you, I had no idea what kind of blessing I was in your life. This is amazing. I'm honored to be here. It leads me to believe that you probably took this up with the highest of highest, prayed for something like this, because the relief I saw on you and seeing you like, can you explain that to people on
Well,
how you met me?
what it amounted to is throughout my endeavors and throughout my search, I've often felt that, well, well, this is nonsense. It doesn't matter what the answers are. It doesn't matter how I think or feel. Well, yeah, it does. I'm every bit as important as God himself. I am God. God is in me. God is in all of us. God fills every single molecule of anything that is in existence. That's part of God.
Yep.
God is in that.
Well,
And given that being the case, I realized that there was no need to be so full of wonder and so completely nonplussed on the fact that I would ever be able to unravel this mystery. Well, the fact of the matter is, anybody could unravel it. It's simply a matter of organizing your thoughts in such a way and your feelings that you are open to the chance, the opportunity that things
the chase.
that what God, the way God made them. He made them, and then he told us about them. He actually spoke it into existence. He spoke the answers into existence, and we somehow or another have conveniently missed that or not really understood the significance of it. But the significance and the relevance of it is that it is a part of the human condition, and each and every one of us in our own way have the ability to turn it in such a way where suddenly we see it for what it is.
Yeah.
We understand it for what it is, and it's no longer this unbelievable, long, drawn-out search. It's a simple matter of just look very carefully. Be open in your heart and your mind, and look with a sense of happiness and desire to that you're seeking out something good. It's not something that's going to destroy your fellow man. It's something that will help bolster every human being simply because they get to the point where they realize I'm not the waste of skin and air that I thought I was on this planet. I'm actually somebody that can make a difference.
Right.
Can change things for the better.
Exactly. And like kind of how I feel, the message I'm getting is it's just like Hercules. Hercules got sent here, and his first two enemies were pain and panic. He had to literally like fight them as the snakes, as a baby, So that tells me we come here all innocent, just like Hercules, just God worthy. Something might have happened where some of us are here way before we're supposed to be to help out, and if that's the case, I truly believe that with this feeling, there's no telling me that we haven't stumbled upon something that does lead to harmony, man. Like when I say it's harmony, like I cried out of happiness and worthiness and purpose fulfilled and love, and like I felt like wow, like almost a genius by accident. I'll admit it. I had no idea what I was doing when I was doing it, but I'm glad I stumbled upon a little hack to life. And what it was is I had lost my mom. And I was a foster kid, so I lost my parents before her. So you can only imagine how much that woman meant to me. She believed in me. She said that right before, it was a week before she died. Last time I talked to her, she said, I think you really are the one that's going to save the world. And she's like, I don't know how you're going to do it. She's like, but you're crazy. You'll figure out a way. And I was like, yeah, I hope so. I kind of doubt myself a little bit, but right after my mom died, there was a butterfly that showed up in my life. And I'm not lying. I've been following the butterfly lonely. I have no mom to ask anymore. So I've been following this butterfly, and it keeps leading me to these people. And this was Richard's all day long. What he had said about the butterfly being able to spread, go through that process and open his wings. The butterfly first must want to go into the cocoon stage, and that kind of, in my brain, I see that as like when you are lying to yourself about certain evils or certain goods, and you don't understand duality or light and dark, and how you need a positive for a negative, you need a negative for a positive. So on that note, I kind of feel like we really did stand next to the Creator, all of us, and we made this plan of exactly how life would go down, where we would be, what would go down, how, like, we even planned out the evils, you know, and God sent out his angels and demons, loving them both and waiting for the date that they would come and be closer to him and understand him a little bit more. Because honestly, I feel like, you know, after they were created, they didn't understand a lot of it, and this was the process of understanding, you know, just like this fire. It is destroyed before it is rebuilt. And it's rebuilt better, and I just feel my answers. There's been a lot of that going on to get us to this stage. You know, so having balance is to be able to flow. You know, and I would say flow with the punches. What would you say on balance?
Well, the flow with the punches almost engenders something too violent, but I think that's an accurate way to say it. The truth sometimes hurts, and the lack of truth always hurts. So the relation to violence and feeling a sense of being beaten up or beaten down isn't lost on me. It's a matter of I want to be able to try and take that element that is intimidating and frightening, or, you know, nobody likes to be slapped in the face or anything. But I want to get to the point where none of that, if it's necessary to my understanding of what I'm doing or what I'm seeking, then I'm willing to put up with whatever is involved in absorbing that truth.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to assume that if I could just avoid, if they just pull that punch and this punch, that I'd get it better. Well, no, I think I'm the one who controls what happens with the punches, as far as how they land on me
and how you look at them. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's all like you're saying. It's all how you want, what perspective you are looking at it, how you're looking at it. Like, you know what I'm hearing you? I'm hearing you warn me, a young timer full of piss and vinegar, and you have salt and vinegar, or salt and pepper. I think you're telling me to try to refrain from being closed-minded and single-sided brained, to be open, you know, because this is how I feel, boss. The reason that resonates with me is, like, you know, when someone says we're the only ones right and no one else will make it to heaven, when I think about God, I'm like, no, man, everyone's loved. It says in the Bible, even loves his angels and demons. Like, so you're not looking at a certain type of God the right way. Is the common problem on earth.
This is a God that is willing to shower possibilities and things that may not exist in the orderly minds of we the people, but they exist in our Creator. He's open up to saying, hey, this could happen and that could happen. And you mix this together with that, and you mix that together with this, and this is what you end up getting.
Yeah.
And he doesn't make any apologies for anything. I'm sure he may, or someone may feel that he should be apologetic, because after all, he created them and they weren't perfect. But what is perfection?
I think it's this newfound love. It's like the love God, I feel like, loved his angels and his demons, because ultimately they're kind of working for him the same way. There's no choice. Even the humans with good and evil don't really realize if you're evil, you're just not awake to how it hurts yourself, how it hurts your own heart. And when you can eliminate all those pains and those panics inside your own heart about what's real, what's not, what's a sin and what's not, like what's really bad and what's really good, what's black, what's white, when you understand this duality process, it becomes very clear that you must go to the dark side, one, to learn how to conquer that same evil, you know, to get familiar with it, keep your enemies as close, you know, and then also to, like, I feel like snag that info and one day return to the light and use it to fight for the light, like to protect the light inside from everything. You know, this kind of represents how
much could be brought from the dark and shared with the light, which would make the light say, now I see, now I get it. They're both mysteries to one another, but they're both mutually dependent upon one another.
Right.
And one cannot exist without the other. One cannot, light cannot illuminate anything unless there's a certain degree of darkness there that requires illumination.
Right.
If that requirement's not there, then what good does more light do? Well, it makes it a garish, bright scene.
Exactly. So, like, you know that thing we were talking about, how you put ink on a piece of paper, you put water on it, you let it dry out, and you let it run to the side, and you can see all the colors of the rainbow and all the colors of the graybow. So this tells me in between black and white, in between positive and negative, are all the other things. These are the special things. These are the processes, the steps that white must take to become black, and black must take to become white. So we gotta familiarize with these colors and all the, like, perspectives within the 50 shades of graybow and the 50 shades of rainbow or whatever. No, I don't know if it's actually 50, but that's based on the book that might speak to our younger kids.
Well, someone out there may want to correct me when I say this, but I feel that what you've just described there with the wet and the colors of the rainbow and the graybow are they're spectral. They have to do with the spectrum of light, and that light causes these quote unquote colors or whatever to the colors of the rainbow, the colors of the graybow, to lift themselves off the page a little bit and give us an opportunity to see, well, what I thought I was looking at was a combination of this color and that color,
it's
but now I can understand.
Yeah,
it's everything from A to Z.
Yeah. Wow, yeah, that's incredible for you to reconfirm that for me. I feel like what is obviously needed in the beginning and the end is this attractedness to each other, and once they click and they obviously don't get along, they try to get away from each other, and then it's like, that's when white and black met and like started having a friction, and I feel like if we take this inside, it's like really examining how light can come from dark and how darkness can come from light, the opposites. So then you can go back to like how normal things are and see it with a different, higher enlightenment. So it's like sometimes on our bad side is the ability to lie, right? And our good side doesn't even have the type of heart to lie.
And then there's something that went down as a kid. I always had the sense that to end one's own life would be to just completely thumb your nose at God and then say, this is what I think of your gift of life. But then it was brought to my attention that there are individuals who, in their heads, carry so much information that were to fall into the wrong hands could be extremely a bad day for the people who are involved in that information. And so that per individual, if they become captured or in any way, shape, or form neutralized, they have to take a pill or whatever and swallow it, and that, in essence, does end their life. And an ended life can't betray all other life. An ended life is an ended life. Living life can say, I don't want to tell you this, but, and then you go and tell the spill the beans, and suddenly millions or billions of people are at risk. Not a good situation.
Actually, what I feel like our mission really is like, how many people know this? How many people feel this? Who have risen above the illusion of money and pain and panic. I kind of see the rich people in the world knowing this information, because how can you? God says the richest man in the world knows that he's not happy, so then he must be looking for the answer again. And I hope that this message gets out there. The true treasure is unconditional love. Richard, like, how did we meet, and what? Why is what I'm doing important? Why I feel like I'm going to places that people who say that they're helping people won't go. I'm going to the places where people who really need, need their pain talked about, understood, reflected upon, and learned from. This is where I've been getting the most life-giving information.
Well, that's makes perfect sense in my opinion, simply because there's not a one of us who hasn't occupied the space that you're discussing right there. You know, we've all been that person who has had that burning question or that gnawing doubt that just a word or two might make all the difference in the world to those people.
Right. Like you said, there's no one who doesn't have that burning feeling of why, how, where, when.
Right.
But there is a shortage of people who have the will of fire to actually ask how, where, when, why. And then not only ask and be told while thinking